Why, hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and this is a RiseToWar Legacy playlist today, my friends. And I'm going to do this for 101 for newbies kind of thing. If you're brand new and you would like to try out RiseToWar, and we're going to talk about it today, my friends. We're going to talk about the interface starting in here and all that kind of stuff. We are at the time of in-between seasons where we're in back end. I will explain what that means, and I'm just going to give you a little walk through the guide and the menu here for you if you're brand new to the game and you want to start it up. So basically, when you start it up on your phone, I'm using an emulator on the computer, which you can use. You could use BlueStacks, you could use LD Player if you want to play it on the computer, but it works really great on the phone, so I would recommend on the phone. So you tap to begin, you get a little eagle and some sound. Again, I'm going to have the sound off because the beautiful Lord of the Rings soundtrack right here at the beginning does affect copyright things. So basically, when you first get in, it's going to have you hook it. Usually when you're on your phone, it'll hook it to Google Play. Usually, if you're on an Android, is how it usually will connect. There is a way you have to accept the terms of service. They always give you a little bit of issues here and announcements when you come in. You have to click that off. And then basically now you're in the main screen. Now at this time, I cannot, normally you would just tap the start ring to just start. If you want to, we need to talk about the menu right now because you need to know how to get around in the menu. All right, so basically what's really important here is on the left side, you get a couple things. You got this up here, which basically is how you're going to connect to your account. So bind your account. Make sure you bind your account early, you guys. It's really important to bind your account early. So because if you get on a different phone or you restart the game, you might lose 10 hours of work at the beginning. So bind your account right off the bat, set up, make sure you know your name. All right, so now that's really important. Usually it's connected to your phone and your whatever your account is signed into on your Google Play. There's a couple other ways you can sign into things too and switch. See, there's a couple different things. Log in with account, bind game data, all that kind of stuff here. And then start a new game. Be very careful with this button. It says it right there, reset all your game data. So I would recommend not do that unless for some reason you wanted to completely restart, which doesn't really make sense to me why you would do that. But next one right here, we have, again, this is the same one that always pops up. It's basically their announcements board. And then you have the small world. This one's very important, okay? When you open this small world, it basically shows all the seasons, right? Season 1, Season 2, and the servers that are open and stuff. And this is where you can kind of choose where to bounce around and stuff and what's going on. There are different kinds of seasons. So for example, there's Season 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, there can be slightly different ones going at different times. Usually they label seasons depending on the generic game mode. There is also a couple different kinds of game modes, you guys. This is what's important. There's Tactics Evolved, there's the War of the Ring, and Rebuilding Glory. Tactics, and there's RP and non-RP. Okay, you guys, this is so important to know. Okay, this is the info you want to know as a new player. So non-RP versus RP, okay? Roleplay means that you can only have good commanders and good units on the team you're on, the faction you're on. There are 8 factions right now in the game. Yes, I believe. Is it 8? Yes, I think it might be 10 now, actually. I think it might be 10 now, yes. I'm forgetting 2 of the newer ones. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a later guide video if you'd like to continue with that. Tactics Evolved. RP basically means role-playing, again, is only good heroes on good side. When you play non-role-playing, right, if you find the one that says that doesn't have RP on it, it's just the ones that don't have RP. Basically, those are the ones that allow you to have good heroes, commanders, and evil commanders. You can use all of them, and you can use their units, cross units. So, for example, Boromir can lead orcs if you want to. There's a thing you have to do in your ring. I can do another guide video on that you have to learn to be able to use those units together. But again, all you need to realize is anything that says RP means you can only have good commanders with good units on the good side, and vice versa. If you're playing an evil faction, you can only have evil commanders with bad units, okay? That's what you need to know. That's what's important to know. All right, the War of the Ring. The War of the Ring is basically an event where it's the good against evil factions. They're automatically all allianced, okay? Tactics Evolved, think of Tactics Evolved game mode as a risk board, okay? All the factions are separate and they can ally an enemy with whoever they choose, and there is a new mechanic called Faction Alliance where 2 factions can become basically united, where they can use each other's tiles to bounce off and stuff. Okay, so that's how that works. Tactics Evolve is the most iconic version of the game. It's definitely, I think, my favorite besides Rebuilding Glory. Rebuilding Glory is pretty much very similar to Tactics Evolved. The only difference is Rebuilding Glory is where you actually rebuild and get bonuses from the main capitals that you take to take regions in the game. That's basically all that does. It helps you get different control of different places. All right. Also fun, similar to Tactics Evolved. The War of the Ring is very different. All the factions that are evil are united. All the factions that are good are united. And basically the whole thing is there's a ring bearer. The Fellowship is traveling, and the evil side wants to hinder that and stop that. The good side wants to get them to Mount Doom. Okay, so that's a fun game mode too, but it's not quite exactly how the game was originally designed to be played, but it's still very, very interesting. The one I played felt a little unbalanced at first, but they've done some work. The team of RiseToWar are really awesome, so they really are working to try to balance things, and I've heard some that were really fun games with that. So, and the evil side gets an extra special commander that you just get for that season, Armored Sauron, so that's pretty cool as well, and he's very strong. So yeah, so now you know non-RP, RP, the differences between those two, and then the Rebuilding Glory, Tactics Evolved, and the War of the Ring. Again, Tactics Evolved is the most original version. Tactics Evolved without RP on it is non-RP. That's the most original vanilla version of the game, okay? If I'm going to tell you that, whichever one. So, and then there's some other stuff here. Season 2 had a slightly different name, but they've slightly updated things over time, and you can choose to play different ones if you want. Here's all the seasons, right? Different ones you can do. And again, here's your accounts. All right, so this is where your accounts will be. Choose your server. You can make other accounts on other servers with the same account, but they are different, right? They're different ones. That's why I have one that's a Zollin account. And then I have one that's my Voice of the Rings account, which is basically the main account we play on the channel. All right, so they are on different servers, and you can't really join them on the same server usually. Okay, it's kind of hard to choose that. But now basically we're gonna go into bag ends. So, well, let's talk about one more thing. There's a repair button here. If you're having troubles, you can click that to repair issues on the game. And then also there's one right here giving their little policy that you agree to, right? Those are the other two buttons, but not quite as important. So now you can choose who to log into. I'm gonna choose my bag end one and say okay. Now you can click the ring to log in, or if you do that, it'll automatically log you in. So we're gonna go into bag end, and we're pretty much already almost done talking about the interface and if you're a new player and what you need to be thinking about. So again, if you come and this is what happens, you'll immediately get put in a bag end once you choose your server. This is basically the same layout. I have a whole video already on the layout of the screen. I'll have an updated one for you guys in the future here. But basically you're gonna go into campaign, and this is basically where you're going to choose your next campaign. All right. There's Tactics Evolved, Rebuilding Glory, Roleplay, and a War of the Ring available. You can join team lists, right? You can ask to join, you can make a team. Again, this is a fellowship. This is basically the guild. It's very important, RiseToWar, you guys to have a good team. It really helps. Sometimes you'll get lucky. You'll get in a faction that has a really strong team, and they'll just help you out, and you'll get to join them, kind of stuff. But it's important to kind of plan ahead, because having a big fellowship alliance, basically in one of the factions, it really helps, especially if other people on other teams have really big groups. Again, numbers matter in this game, so that's a big one. We'll do a follow-up video here on talking about some stuff. What if you're a new player, what would you want to put money into? If you're free to play, what do you need to focus on? That kind of stuff. So we'll do that. But again, this is where you'll choose your server. Once you're in your server, this is what basically Bilbo's bag end is where you'll choose what server you want to hop into, and they'll just give you a couple options, and then they'll reset after a certain amount of time, and you'll get more options to join into more servers. Servers keep opening and stuff. But this is why you want to plan ahead with your friends. Again, if you'd like to join me and my friend group at the time of this video, we'll have a few days because I'm in bag end. You can join our Discord for I'm not the leader of it, but I'm one of the helper leaders. And we will get you invited if there is room in our group. If there's not, you can still join the same faction as us, and we might make a secondary fellowship in the future. So there's some things about that, but we don't want to get you too confused. Hopefully that helps you out to start with, you guys. Make your account, bind your account, that's really important. Bind it to something, your email or your Google Play or something. Guys, don't just let your account disappear, because it's the worst feeling. You make sure you click on the world if you need to when you first log in, that world button, and then this will be your main page when you first come in to Bag End. Bag End is basically the waiting room. It's where you discuss with your friends. You can do stuff with the chat bar, talk to people, that kind of stuff. So anyway, we'll have a follow-up video on that, but hopefully that helped you out. If it did, don't forget to like and subscribe. We do all sorts of Lord of the Rings content here on Voice of the Rings, but we also do a lot of Rise to War, and we also do a lot of LOTRO, a lot of those kind of games, and other stuff, lore videos, all sorts of fun things. So thanks to my subscribers, that'll be right here if I earned it, the button's there. Thanks to my Patreons, you guys are the best, and next episode will be up there in the top left for the Rise to War content, and over there is my main stuff from A LOTR Tale with voiceovers. Baruch Hazard Kuzar I menu. See you the next episode of Voice of the Rings.